This is a story of Dave and Sharon finally living their dreams of sailing to the Caribbean and beyond. Join us while we share our adventures from getting the boat ready and embarking on our cruising life.
Going to replace the head, and before I did that I had to get this intake manifold off, which means I had to loosen up. This guy was right in the way of one bolt, and everything is kind of sneaking from around, so I've had to kind of sneak down under here to get the intake manifold off. And now it's just one of those 1/8 to a quarter turn at a time. So we're doing this, gotta kind of sneak in to get these bolts, and it's kind of tough. And then I've got these little rags down in here. Those are my drop the bolt rag, so that it doesn't go down in the bilge. If they do, I've lost it. So I've got a towel down here and a drop some cloth under here to stop it. I don't know how I'm going to get into this one under here. It's going to be tough, but there's only 4, and I think they're all reachable slightly. And then once I get this off, I'm not going to take this off because there's too many hoses to disconnect. Let's see if I can pull it away. And then while we're there, before I take the head off, I'm going to see if I can paint these up, clean them up, paint them up a little, along with some other areas down in there. We'll see if we can get stuff painted up. But I still have to take this reservoir off. Can you see it? To take this reservoir off, I have to take this big old plate off. And then there's some flatter plates on this side. I have to take this filter off. I have to take the injectors off and the lines, and I'm hoping I can just loosen the lines because they're going to be a pain to get back on if I have to do those. And then we can lift the head out, and although I do have to take the rockers off too. We've got the rocker assembly out. Looks like I got a little water in the oil up here, but I don't see any water in my oil pan or when I pull it out. So I'm probably getting that little bit of a leak from the coolant. And this I haven't been able to get off because there's a bolt under here that's a little, I got it as far off as I can, but I can't get the rest away. So I'm going to disconnect this, lift this whole thing a little bit with the head, and when I do, I'll be able to get that off. The manifold off. And then these are the high pressure lines. I'm going to really hope I can move the head out without having to loosen these off the high pressure pump because they're really hard to get to. But we're almost there. I got to pull this filter off, and then I can start loosening the head bolts. I had to jerry rig something so I can pull the head up by myself, and it's about 100 pounds, which isn't bad. But this way I can do it myself, nice and easy, and I have to suspend it anyway. So here I have 2 preventers, 2 of my preventers there and here, and then I'll pull this all the way down and connect it to the engine, and that way I can pull the head up. And I have to pull it up a little bit because I have a bolt right under there that I can't quite, it's almost off, but I can't quite get it off without raising the head up a little bit and raising the the exhaust manifold up just a bit so I can get that bolt off. Alright, so I've got the head out. We've got her suspended in our little Mickey Mouse lift. It's kind of easy to lift, and we're taking a look at her. Looks to me like I might have had, let's see if I can get this light. Looks to me like I might have had something going on right here, and I don't really see. If I had a leak, it's either there or right here. That's cylinder 4, and I think that's where the leak was, right in there. Right there. Because if I'm looking at, you can see where it's kind of marked coming right through here. Yeah, the wet, a lot of this wet came in. Like my cylinder 3 is wet, but that probably just poured in. But then if you look at the cylinder walls, don't look too bad. It looks like it might have something going again on cylinder 4 right in here. And I think these marks, let's see, get the light here. I think these marks were just smudges where I was picking it up and off. There's nothing big, but then again, it wasn't a real big leak. And that probably would have done it right there on 4 or somewhere on 3. And it could have leaked right from here. Could have leaked right from here on 3 as well. And so, but let's see, I guess I did have a little bit of rust down in there on that. Right there. A little rust on there. We're going to move these cylinders later and see. So this is, yeah, I don't see rust. Maybe a little rust right there on 4. This has definite rust on it right there. None of the other ones though. So I'm gonna move those around and see how the walls are. I mean, they look good from here, but I might have to add some more oil in there and slick them up. I'm really not getting any. I don't think I'm getting anything ring-wise, blow-by, because there's nothing in the oil. It hasn't changed the oil. If I was getting blow-by, it would probably add fuel in there into oil, and it would raise the level, but it's not doing that. So I'm pretty sure that I had a coolant leak, and the valve seals were leaking a little oil down in there, so I was burning a little bit of oil. Alright, I'm going to take the gasket off the head. And so looking at the cylinders, this one definitely is not burning efficiently. And this one is, and this one is, and this one's kind of in between. Just looking at the color, this piston's got pitting on it, which is heat pitting, which would be steam. It looks like right here is where it might be coming in, and that matches up to over here. So the head might be warped. The old head is probably warped, because I'm seeing you're getting some blow-by in here between the cylinders. And on the bottom, you can't really tell fully from the bottom, but it looks like blow-by. That was right here. And again, this looks like it was almost ready to come through, and this looks like it did come through, although it's not rusted in there. But the cylinder does have a little rust on it down there. So we're gonna push that cylinder down later. I'm gonna clean everything up and vacuum everything out, make sure it's clean, add some WD-40 for lube, or maybe something heavier, and we'll turn her around and see what the walls look like on each one. They look pretty smooth from here, even this one, even though it's got a little rust, which indicates to me that the rings are just fine. Alright, so we have the head, we got the block all cleaned up, and but best I can do. I got pitting, I smoothed all those out, and now we're going to clean out the holes and clean up gasket areas and start getting this thing ready to put back on. And there's the head ready to go. So what I'm doing here is prepping all of the bolts because I'm going to reuse them. And a lot of them are rather crudded up. And then, so I'm going to prep them and treat them. And I'm going to use a Dremel tool. I picked up this cheapie at Walmart because it's a rechargeable. And my good Dremel shot the bed. Oh, and then I'm treating it with Corrosion X HD. Really good product. And I just put a little on a oil absorbent rag, and then I'll treat that afterwards. So basically I'm cleaning the threads. I'm cleaning the whole bolt. You want to get up there too, so we'll see.
You ready?
So we're just slowly putting stuff back together here, and then once I get to a certain point, I'm going to pull this off again and lash the valves up. But that's it. I have to re-torque all of the head bolts once more at 50 hours. Sorry, not 50,000 miles. At 50 hours, I have to pull it off and re-torque those. And some of those bolts are underneath the rocker arm assembly, so I'll have to pull that off again. But it should be a lot easier to check the lashing on that since they'll all be adjusted. But just trying to figure out where everything goes back together. And I don't know if I showed you this. What I did is, as I moved everything out, I put them in plastic bags and I marked where the bolts go for everything I pulled off, and it's been a godsend for putting this thing back together. A lot easier finding bolts when they're in a marked bag. Don't have to figure out where they go. And I'll put the injectors back in after I've lashed the valves. It just makes it a little easier to turn the motor for that. Got the motor started after putting a new head on, and you can see here it's cold, it's not warmed up yet, so we have probably an average amount of a little bit of exhaust coming out, smoke, not much. Typical of a cold engine. We'll see what happens. We're going to warm her up now. Finally got all the leaks stopped, at least I think I do. I'm going to keep an eye on her as she warms up. Purring like a kitten. We finally got done with the motor. No, I finally got done with the motor, and Jason helped me too. And it's running, and we'll test it a little later when we take her out. But this is my work on the motor shirt, which is going into the garbage. Here's the finishing, put a new head on the motor. And we're going to throw this away with a cheer.
Cheer.
Cheer. Yep.
Stripping.
And this goes there. A month of work.
No more motor. I told him he had to throw that shirt out because it's all ripped and everything. We want to say thank you to all of our viewers who have subscribed and commented. We appreciate your support and feedback. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. This really helps us build our channel up so we can keep bringing you more videos.